right. Hey everybody, this is Coury. So this is the beginning of what I hope will be a either weekly or bi-weekly event where I can just like make a video about whatever I feel like I want to talk about that has to do with the channel, just like kind of what's going on in general. It's like thoughts on like maybe some news. I think that Try and I are both going to be doing this, maybe taking turns. It really depends on our workload. But I think it's a good way for me to just kind of communicate with you, the patrons, as a way in giving you some like extra stuff along the way. But you know, I kind of have a a secret reason that I'm doing this is because honestly, I'm like not very good just like talking off the cuff. And I feel like the more I do it, the better that I'll get at it. So in a way, that's just like me, it's like just like forcing me to practice and keep on doing it and have something regular, and maybe I'll get better and I'll just be able to just kind of, maybe one day I'll be as good as Bithead 1000, just like talking about stuff. Probably not. I don't think that's really possible. But I just feel like this is a good way for me to be able to practice at that kind of stuff. The kind of stuff I want to talk about is like stuff that has to do with the channel. You know, maybe what I've been playing lately. Just like some thoughts on news and some other stuff. You never know. Maybe it might not all be game related or like RGB or gaming technology related, but you never know. Anyways, I guess first I'll get into the channel stuff. You may have heard Try talking about the Perfect Dark Zero episode that he's working on. He's just about wrapping that up, and it'll be out this Saturday at 11. That's what we're kind of hoping is going to be like our normal time to release episodes going forward, at least like every other week, 11 a.m. on Saturday Eastern time. There might be times where we're working on an episode that's very time sensitive, you know, that has to go up on a certain day. Like we want to, like we did with the Mega Man episode. We got that done so that it would come out like the same day as the game, as like the embargo lifted. So I think that like there will be times where we're doing that as well. But hopefully, like if we can get into like a good routine, then hopefully we'll like get episodes ahead. So like those episodes that like don't meet that schedule, it's not going to interfere with episodes that are on that schedule. For instance, if a episode comes out that's like very time sensitive on like a Tuesday when a game releases, and that Saturday after that still has to do with our, like it's still on our schedule, then we'll still release an episode that day too. So, I mean, ideally the plan would be to like at least a minimum of every other episode or every other week, like a month, but sometimes there'll be more. As you know, like Try is doing this full time, and same with me. But we both like are freelancing, trying to like stay afloat by doing that kind of stuff. But that workload will either be heavy sometimes, or sometimes it'll be light. And the whole like term with freelance is usually like feast or famine. Sometimes you have a lot of stuff to work on, sometimes you have nothing. But ideally, like we'll be kind of going back and forth with our episodes, and we'll be able to manage it a lot better than we have this year. If you kind of go back like a while ago, like a few years ago, we were releasing like Fridays at like 8 o'clock, like consistently. And we'd really like to get back into doing that. I mean, part of the reason we haven't been able to do that, I think, is because of, I guess, like, we've like put more production time into episodes, and sometimes they just take longer. But a lot of that had to do with, Try having to work like 9 to 5 every single day. And now that we don't have to worry about that, then we can, hopefully everything's going to be hopefully a lot better, I think. YouTube just gave us access to that premiere function where you can premiere an episode with like a chat room, and it just like plays, and then as soon as it finishes, then it just becomes like a video on the channel. I think this is kind of like a good test bed for trying to do that. I just think it sounds fun. You know, it's a good idea, and it's kind of a cool way to kind of just like talk about an episode, like as people are watching it for the first time, you know, like maybe we can drop some like little fun comments in there and stuff about it. I don't know if you've been looking at different aspects of the channel, but I've been kind of going back through and like redoing every single like public episode thumbnail. Just kind of something that is a bit more like not so visibly like visually cluttered. You know, just like kind of has a band across the bottom with a title and like the logo, but then the rest we can have like an image of what it is. And a big thing is that we don't want to use just like scanned art that's already exists like online someplace. So I've been kind of going back through and like taking photographs of like either like the cartridge or like the artwork on a cartridge, or, you know, something that's like kind of relevant. And I basically finished most of them. Some of them I don't have the actual game, so I'm like, when Tri finishes with this Perfect Dark episode, he'll be able to take some photographs and then we can finish up. I really want to change the RGB-203, the Genesis thumbnail, so it kind of like matches with the other ones. So I guess the big news this week was the announcement of the Mega SG, which I'm incredibly hyped for. Tri's pretty hyped as well. We found out at the same time as everybody else. Even though, like, you know, we kind of worked with, like, got the interview Keptris for the Super NT episode that we did last year, like, we didn't get like any kind of like early news on it or anything like that. So obviously, like, I'm thrilled because, you know, I'm a Genesis guy, and I think that I'm going to be the one that's kind of like mainly handling the episode this time. Like, Tri has handled the Super NT and just like the regular NT episodes, but this one's going to be kind of mine. I'm not even sure if we're going to like get an early unit or anything like that. Hopefully we will be able to. I think that our video that we did last year was pretty well received, and I think that, you know, we're going to try and do the same thing. Keptris doesn't live very far away from me, so if we can go visit him again, I mean, I'm not sure if it's going to happen. He might be sick of us by now, especially since we like spent quite a bit of time with him like a little while back, like working on like documentary stuff. We spent 2 days with him, like kind of going through his stuff. But, you know, I definitely want to talk about it. I think it's pretty cool. I actually ordered a Model 2 Sega CD because I think it's important that we show the system working with that. That should arrive tomorrow. I only have a Model 1, but I think that if I'm going to keep like, you know, a Mega SG, it's going to take me a little while to stop just calling it Super SG. I want to keep it hooked up, kind of like using that. Basically what I've done with my Super NT is I just kind of keep my SC to SNES in it, and like I was just kind of hooked up to the side. But I've been using it more and more just because it's so much easier to use to capture than the OSSC, which kind of like drops every once in a while for me. I mean, it's if I'm using the OSSC in 4X, it's not that bad. But 5X, I can't play anything. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I love the design of it. I'm excited to see, you know, like what it looks like in person. I think that the you know, the Super NT is much smaller, and it's kind of like hefty when you like kind of see it in person. And I think obviously this one's going to be the same way. But one of the reasons, like, I do want to keep it, like, attach it to a Model 2 Sega CD, because I just think it's going to look better. I mean, I think it'll look kind of like a little silly on a Model 1 Sega CD. But, because it's probably going to be, like, really tiny, and there's just, like, a lot of blank space on it. At least, like, the Model 2 has that kind of tray. Of course, that kind of destroys the, you know, how much real estate it takes up. But, whatever, you know, it's alright. It's alright, but I'm excited to check it out. A lot of stuff to test with it. I'm gonna order some SG-1000 games. I mean, it's about time that I probably own a copy of Dragon Wing. So I'm gonna order that to test with it. I already have some Mark III games. You know, obviously I have Master System games. You know, I want to be able to try everything out. From all the colors available, I do like the the black and red, although I do like the European style with just like the white on there. But I'm definitely going with the, you know, like the normal color. All right, so how about something else? So based on our schedule right now, I've really been making an effort to just kind of, you know, play games that aren't necessarily for the show. So I've been trying like 9 to 11 every night, as long as I'm not like doing other things. Trying to like play games just for fun. I mean, I started the Messenger on stream a couple weeks ago, but I kind of played it, you know, after I finished my work for the day. Last week, and I thought it was a really great game. I knew that there was some sort of twist. I assumed that it was going to be like a Metroidvania style thing, but I didn't realize, like, while I was right about that, I didn't realize that suddenly it was going to become like, it was going to transition back and forth between an 8-bit and 16-bit game. Hopefully I'm not spoiling it for anybody, and yeah, I mean, I just thought it was kind of neat. And the game was like a lot longer than I expected. You know, it probably took me like over 10 hours, but it was very good. It did kind of get easier, I felt like, towards the end. Not that that's a bad thing at all. Like, once it became like a Metroidvania style, like, I think that the difficulty kind of went down a bit, but that's fine because, you know, like the last segment of the 8-bit only style, I thought maybe it just got like a little bit too, you know, it's just too hard. It felt like Super Meat Boy or something like that, where it's just like, all right, you gotta like just trial and error, keep on trying till you finish this part without dying. On top of that, I guess, like, after I finished that, I just popped in Sonic Mania, and apparently, like, I was on the last level, and I like beat that like right away. You know, oh, here comes the kitty. Hi there. I kind of beat that right away because I was right at the end. So it was, you know, what an awesome game, and I'm definitely going to go back to it and spend more time with it. I can't believe how good the CRT filter looks in it. It's definitely one of the best I've ever seen. Kind of like makes me want to do a video on like the best and worst CRT filters in games. I'm not sure exactly when when I'll get around to doing that, but you never know. On top of that, like, okay, so after I finished those two, I decided I was going to start Fists of the North Star, but I didn't really want something that was going to probably be like 50 hours. I've heard that it's pretty long, so I decided to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I feel like I need to kind of just like play a lot of, you know, like 10-hour games. And Shadow of the Tomb Raider was good because it was, yeah, it's pretty straightforward, but I guess there's like, this one kind of opens things up a bit. So this is kind of the first game that I'm playing on my new TV in 4K with HDR. It's kind of cool. HDR, I guess, like, Trial loves HDR, but I even still like playing it, like, I just don't, it's not doing much for me. Like, I understand what it's doing, and it's something that I think you gotta see in person to like really understand it, but at least with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it's not striking me as like, it's not mind-blowing. I think it's a fun game, you know, like I played through the previous two, and I really liked the first one. I honestly couldn't tell you like anything about Rise of the Tomb Raider. I think I played it like 2 years ago, and I cannot tell you a single thing about the story at all in it. I'm not sure if this is going to end up being like the end of this trilogy, and if like they're going to like skip forward after this or what with the story. Like, I don't know if they're going to like shove off all this Trinity stuff. It kind of feels like this is like the end of it, but it's hard to say. I mean, it's fun to play. I love games like this, you know, like I love the Uncharted games. I mean, I think that if I'm playing like 2 hours a night, you know, I can finish it in about a week, and that's kind of my plan going forward. Anyways, so next thing I want to talk about, I got a couple of random things while I finish up here. I got this in the mail the other day. This is The Game Console, a book by Evan Amos. If you don't know Evan Amos, he is the guy who takes all the photographs that are used online of like hardware, like all the Wiki Commons stuff, and it's just like it's a fantastic book. There's a lot of stuff in here, and now I mean I think it's available for order on Amazon right now. But we haven't told anybody this, but when we were in New York City, we actually spent a full day with Evan, and we are going to be doing a kind of a mini documentary on him and the work that he's done, because I feel like he's kind of this, it's very much like an unsung hero of video game preservation. I mean, everyone uses these pictures. Like even big companies just like grab, like there's been even instances where Nintendo has used his photographs like without credit or anything on like on their stuff in the Nintendo World Store, which is crazy to me. So I feel like we can kind of give him some of the attention that he deserves from this. He's put in like years of his life basically doing this with like little to no credit. I think that like this book is just a fantastic way to kind of preserve these images in one place. And I think that, you know, we wanted to try and get the documentary out before the book came out, but I think just with the stuff we're working on, it's like, it's not gonna happen. Hopefully we can get that out like sometime in November or early December. I think that like he deserves all the attention he can get, because he's done so much. And you know, he took us around his apartment. It's so cool. He had all these old systems and stuff that he's photographed. He photographed some stuff with us, like we shot him photographing some stuff to kind of see his process. I think that people are gonna enjoy it, and hopefully Evan is happy with the way it came out. Other than that, I mean, I've been listening to the new album by the synthwave band Gunship called Dark All Day, and it's super good. I haven't been excited by a lot of music. You know, there's that study that came out a few years ago saying, you know, people generally stop listening to new music when they're, you know, like 37. And I'm 39. I'm gonna be 40 in 2 months. And I think that that's true. Like I find myself like listening to like a lot of the stuff that I used to listen to, but you know, synthwave in general, I think has been kind of reinvigorating to me. As someone who grew up like in the 80s, I think that it just like really like strikes a chord with me. I mean, if you are interested in checking out like synthwave stuff, I highly recommend Dark All Day. I think it's awesome. So, I mean, that about does it. So, do you like this kind of thing? Is there anything that you specifically like me to talk about? Stuff that doesn't take a lot of research, hopefully. My idea with this is to basically, once I start work at 9 o'clock, to like shoot it and edit it and have it out by 1 o'clock. So let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about, or anything you want to try to talk about, because, you know, hopefully we'll be taking turns doing this, and I think it's just gonna be kind of fun. And you know, you never know, some of this stuff could be like planting the seeds for future episodes, or, you know, just like things we just like want to talk about. Anyways, till next time, I'll see ya.